Hello, this is Unit 16, Lesson 2. These are angles formed by secants and tangents. These are a little bit more complicated than what we talked about in the previous lesson about the inscribed angles, because these actually you have to take two parts of the circle and put together and then divide by 2. Alright, so first thing is we need to take care of some definitions and things, and also, as I've been asking you to do in all the previous lessons, pick up a piece of paper and pencil and get something that you can write with so that you're ready to take notes about whatever questions you might have to ask, and make a note of those so that you can bring them to class with you tomorrow and ask before we start any work. Okay, also this lesson has 2 assignments that go with it, so this will take care of at least the next 2 sections of Unit 16. So a secant line is simply a line of a circle that passes through 2 points on the circle. In other words, it goes through the circle. And it'll look something like this. This is a diagram of a single secant. Okay, and you need to remember that a tangent line is a line that touches the circle at just a single point. Okay, and we do have a theorem here, which once again, a theorem is just a shortcut tool so that you don't have to recreate something every time. And that's just, okay, so our theorem says that if a secant line and a tangent line intersect at the point of tangency, then the measure of the angle formed is half the measure of its intercepted arc. Okay, so once again, this is an angle that's formed on the circle. So this part of the arc that it intercepts right here, if you divide that by 2, will be the measure of this angle. Okay, so example 1, they want us to find x. Notice that we have a tangent line and a secant that intercept each other at a point that's on the circle. Okay, so they're telling us that this arc measure from one end to the other is 120 degrees. So that means if we divide that by 2 or multiply by 1/2, we get the result of 60 degrees is what x is. Okay, example 2, once again, they want us to find x of this circle. Okay, notice this time they told us the angle is 46 degrees, so if we multiply this by 2, this will tell us the arc that's being intercepted of the circle. So that means that our arc is going to be 2 times 46, which is 92 degrees. Okay, some definitions and things. We have a theorem. The first one here says this. Okay, our theorem says that if 2 secants intersect in the interior of a circle, then the measure of the angle formed is half the sum of the measures of the 2 intercepted arcs. So this means if we have 2 secants that cross each other and form an angle inside the circle, the 2 angles will be the same that they form, but the arcs that are opposite each other have to be added together and divided by 2 to find out what the angle is. Okay, so there's an arc that's intercepted here and an arc that's intercepted here. These 2 angles right here will be congruent because those are vertical angles. Okay, so example 3, they want us to find x in this situation. Okay, notice we have 2 secants that are crossing inside the circle. They did not meet at the center, so this is not a central angle situation. So this means that what we have to do is we have to add the 65 and 28, and then we have to divide by 2. So 1/2 of 68 plus 25, or 28 plus 65, is equal to 1/2 of 93, which is 46.5 degrees. Okay, have another theorem. This theorem says if two secants, two tangents, or a secant and a tangent intersect in the exterior of a circle, okay, then notice this is exterior of a circle, then the measure of the angle formed is half the difference between the measures of the two intercepted arcs. So this means that the arc that's away from the angle subtracting the arc that's towards the angle will give you a number, and that number divided by 2 will be the measure of the angle. Okay? So here's what happens if you have two secants. It's going to look like this. So you take the big arc, which is the one on the far side, and subtract the one on the near side, and divide by 2. Okay, if you have two tangents, it's going to look like this. Okay, so in this case, what you're going to have is you're going to have the arc on the far side minus the arc on the inside. Divide by 2 will give you this angle right here. And then lastly, we have a secant and a tangent. Okay, so this time they didn't intersect on the circle, so what we did earlier is not going to be applicable to this, because we're looking for this angle over here away from the circle. So what we have here is we have this part of the arc is away from it, this part is close to it, so the part away minus the part that's next to it, divide by 2, and that gives you the angle. Okay, so example 4, what they want us to do is they want us to find x where we have these two secants that intersect outside the circle. Okay, they're telling us that the far arc is 85 degrees, the near arc is 20 degrees, so we're going to subtract them. 85 minus 20 gives us 65, and take half of that is going to give us 32.5 degrees for x. Okay, example 5, once again they simply want us to find x. This time they got a little bit more complicated with it. These are two tangents, and this time we have a 2x plus 10 because they want us to find this angle up here, or actually what x is. So we have the far arc is 260, the near arc is 100, so 260 minus 100 divided by 2 will give us the answer. Okay, so 2x plus 10 eventually ends up equaling 80. So 2x is equal to 80 minus 10. So x is equal to 70 over 2, which is 35 degrees. All right, example 6. Once again, they want us to find x. This time we have a secant and a tangent that intersect outside the circle. So what we've got here is we've got the far arc, we got the near arc, but this time they want us to find what the near arc is, and they told us what the original angle was. So the way we do this is simply this: 1/2 of the 185 minus x is equal to 60. Okay, use the handy dandy fraction killer, multiply both sides by 2, gives you 185 minus x equals 120. Subtract the 185 from both sides, so negative x equals negative 65. Divide by negative 1 gives us x is equal to 65. Okay, that completes this lesson. Once again, if you have any kind of questions or any problems with understanding what was going on here, the time to ask questions is tomorrow in class. Be glad to discuss it with you before we take on any of the problems. Thank you very much. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.